For question number 6, we're asked to do 3 things with the points A and B. The first thing we're asked to do is to find the distance between those 2 points. So if I, without using a piece of graphing paper, I'm just going to try to quickly sketch this. So my point A is when x is 2 and y is at negative 10. So I'll put an A here and I'll just label this as 2 comma negative 10. And the next point that I have is B, which is when x is 12 and y is at 14. So roughly speaking, I'm just going to call this B at 12 comma 14. And in order to go from A to B, right, I'm going to look at this vertical change from A going straight up here until I hit this horizontal line that connects. And these vertical lines and horizontal lines connect to form this right triangle. If I look at this vertical line that I'll outline in this orange color, this line starts at negative 10 and goes all the way up to positive 14. Well, when I travel from negative 10 to positive 14, I'm traveling a distance of 24 units. So one of the legs of my right triangle is 24 units. The other leg of the right triangle, and I'll highlight this in green, it starts when x is 2 and goes to when x is 12. So that's a change of 10 units, right? From 2 to 12 is a change of 10 units. So I'm looking at the legs of a right triangle. The legs of the right triangle are 24 and 10. And because I'm asked to find the distance, right, what I'm essentially asked to find is how far is it from A to B. So that distance, right, I'll highlight in this purple color. That's what we're asked to find. And that's the hypotenuse of this right triangle. So if I call that hypotenuse, I'll call it D, as in the distance, right? I can write the following. I could say that that distance squared is equal to 24 squared plus 10 squared. I do need a calculator real quickly. 24 squared is 576 and 10 squared is 100, and I put those together and I get 676. So if D squared is 676, if I take the square root of that value, the square root of 676, I get that D, the distance between those 2 points, is 26 units. So that purple segment there, D, is 26 units, and I'll go ahead and write here, this is 26 units long. The next question asks me to find the location, not the length of half of that distance, but the location of the midpoint. So where is the middle located at? Well, one of the ways, there's a couple ways we've discussed how to find that. One of them was look at the changing your y and changing your x and just go half of that distance. So I can see that my y values are going from negative 10 up to positive 14. So that's a total travel of 24 units. If I just travel up 12 of those units, right, my y value in the middle should be somewhere around 2. That's a terrible sketch, but we're just imagine that's it, 2. And then I'm going, for my x value, I'm traveling from 2 to 12. That's a total travel of 10 units. If I just do half of that travel over, instead of traveling all 10 units, I just travel half of it. I end up right here where 2 and 7 meet. And the other way we discussed finding that is if we consider the average of our endpoints, that is the location of the midpoint. So for example, if I consider the x and y values from my 2 different points, when I add the x values coordinates, right, when I add 2 and 12, I get 14, and then I take half of that when I get 7. Yeah, I wrote this ordered pair in the wrong direction. This is going to be 7 comma 2 over 7 up 2 over, and then the y values are negative 10 plus 14. Let's see, negative 10 plus 14 is just going to be 4, and half of the 4 is 2. So I can see that this is the average of the y's, and this is the average of the x's. So that is the location of the midpoint. The midpoint is located at 7 comma 2. And then the final question here is, what is the equation of line AB? And it's not actually a pretty equation, is it? I mean, you guys know that, those of you that have done this problem. The slope is 24 tenths, right? Because I can see that from the orange and green segments. So my slope is 24 tenths, which does reduce to 12 fifths. That might be slightly something. And it doesn't matter which one of my points I use to figure out my y-intercept. I'm going to use the 12, 14 because it doesn't have a negative numbers. I'm going to plug everything into y equals mx plus b and solve for b. Y is the value 14. My slope is 12 fifths, and x is 12. And then I have the plus b. So I am definitely going to grab a calculator. In fact, let me get the on-screen calculator here. There we go. And I will turn that on. And if I'm looking at this, I've got 12 divided by 5. So that's 12 fifths. I'm going to multiply that by the number 12. So that's the value that's being added to the side with b, right? That's this 12 fifths times 12 plus b. So I'm going to take that away from both sides. So I'm going to look at 14 minus, it was 28.8. And there we go. I am going to kick this to a fraction. And I didn't penalize anyone if you left it at negative 14.8. That's fine as well. But the answer then, written one way, you could write y is equal to 12 fifths, up 12 over 5 units, x. And I am going to write it as minus 74 fifths. Okay, let's move on.